Okay, so I've not recorded the meeting. So once again, good morning, everyone. Today we are going to learn about the adjectives and adverbs. And after this week, I'm going to give my writing examples after learning the first chapter of this one. So adjectives are words that describe nouns or pronouns. They may come before the word they describe this is a cute puppy, or they may follow the word they describe the puppy is cute. So adjectives technically means to describe something, to describe the nouns or pronouns. So you probably heard that, but I'm just going to use this as a review. And then definition of adverbs. They're words that modify everything but nouns and pronouns. They modify adjectives, verbs, and other adverbs. So adverbs technically sort of like an additional information to the verb. That's why it's adverb. I usually use an abbreviation as additional verbs to make me remind of what is adverbs. For example, he speaks slowly. So basically, so answer the question how. So usually words and adverbs answers how, when, or where. Technically the word slowly right here is an adverb, which describes how he speaks, which is that he speaks slowly. So that is the usage of adverb. So here's the example. He speaks very slowly. So this sentence right here answers the question, how slowly does he talk? So that's why it says, it's there, how slowly. And right here, very sort of like describe this the slowly right here, very slowly, and it's very, very slow. So okay, so here's rule number one. So if a word answers the question how, it is an adverb. And we can add I to the end. Oh, what? Here. Oh, why? Be there. She thinks slow or she, oh, slowly. And we use slowly right here because slowly right here describes how she thinks, which is the usage of adverbs. So she thinks slowly. So she thinks how, she thinks slowly. So this basically answer the question how. And then you can say she is a slow thinker. So usually if it's at the front, for example, a slow thinker or slow talker or something, they will not follow the ly rule. But if it's at the back of the very sentence, for example, she thinks slowly right here at the very end, then we usually add ly to it. So right here it is an adjective right here, it's slow, because it doesn't answer the question. So here fast answers the question how, she thinks fast. So it is an adverb, but fast never has an ly attached to it. We perform bad or badly. So badly describes how we perform. So technically, how we think about this is we need to know if it's described the word how or not. Usually something like that. And well, this is not a common rule actually, but I used to think it this way that the end perform badly describes how we perform, and it's at the end describe the word that's previous to it. So that's why we add a y to it. So for examples like that. But so there's an exception right here. It doesn't always has to end with ly. It's like usually. For example, we can have she thinks slowly, but she thinks fastly. That would be awkward. So fast never ends in ly. So it's not always. It depends on the adverb itself. So here's rule number two. A special ly rule applies when for the senses taste, smell, look, feel are the verbs. Do not ask if these senses answer the question how to determine if ly should be attached. Instead, ask if the sense verb is being used actively. If so, use the ly. So let's see if there's a question. Okay, so there's a few examples right there. Okay, so examples right here. Example number one, roses smell sweet. How sweetly. And now we have to ask ourselves this. Did the rose actively smell with noses? So no. So no ly. So here you can see here. This is note to self. If the sense verb is being used actively, we use the ly. But if it's not, then do not use one. So roses smell sweet. We just describe that the roses smell sweet. It is not like actively smell and also no ly at the back. So it's not sweet. And now here is for the second example. The woman looked angry or angry. So we need to choose between one of them. And did the woman actively look with eyes, or are we describing her appearance? Since we are only describing the appearance of the woman, so we do not use ly at the back. So because it doesn't involve an active sense, a body part like seeing or listening, something like that, doesn't involve any active senses, so no ly. Unless it is something like this. See here, other examples. We have right here. The woman looked angry or angry at the paint splotches. So from here, we know that angrily right here, the woman did actively look with her eyes, so ly is added. So it involves active senses. That's why from right here, look. So we know that the woman looked angrily, not the woman looked angry. So we're not describing about the woman's expression, but we are describing about how the woman looked, which involves her seeing senses. And then this one right here, she feels bad or badly about the news. She's not feeling with her fingers, so no ly. So the word feel have two things. Whether it is involves our touching senses or it is probably just our feelings. So but here we're talking about feels bad about the news, so it's talking about her feelings, which doesn't involve any active senses. So she's not feeling with her fingers, right? So no ly. So technically, just to summarize everything, I'm just going to try to explain it in my own words. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. So technically, we're going to ask ourselves in every sentences whether she is a Y or not. If it involves the person we talk about involves any senses, for example, that she touched something or they touch something or they look at something like it's a sort of way. For example, the woman looked angrily. So this is what her seeing senses. So this will add a Y to it. So this for rule number two. And then we have good fish as well. Technically is where's the same subject right here about the adverb and adjective. So we have rule number three. So the word good is an adjective while well is an adverb. So we need to know the difference. And here are some examples. You did a good job. So good right here describes the job. You did the job well. Well, this answers how. You smell good today. Describes the order not well. Smell with your nose. So follow with the adjective. Here. Right. You smell well for someone with the cold. You're actively smelling with the nose here, so follow with the adverb. So technically, adverb and adjective means describing something. The adverb, but right here. Okay, so how should I put this way? Oh my God. So good since goes here right there here describes the job, describes a verb right here. Noun, not a verb. Sorry. I mean, it describe a noun. Then it is an adjective. We use an adjective. We could not say you did a well job. That would sound really weird. But you did the job well. Now, well, right here describes how you did the job. Then you did the job well. So we need to ask ourselves if the sentence itself answers the question how. If it does, then it's an adverb. So well, here's an adverb. So that's how we identify it. And then you smell good today. So describe the order, not how you smell with your nose, follow with the adjective. So this is an adjective. That's why we use good right here. Because it describes the odor, not how we smell it. We smell well for someone with a cold. Now, we are actively smelling with our nose. So that's why we use an adverb right here, which is well, smell well. So that's sort of like the difference. Okay, so here's rule number 4. When referring to health, use well rather than good. So I do not feel well. It's not like I don't feel good. Sounds weird. You don't look well today. You may use good with feel when you are not referring to health. I feel good about my decision to learn Spanish. So this is technically rule number 4 is an exception. This is when we are referring to our health. So use well. I'm not feeling well today. So it's technically we feel to our health itself. So we use well. So this is technically an exception, it's not a particular grammar rule, so you just have to memorize that. So now we have rule number 5. A common error in using adjective and verb arises from using the wrong form comparison. For instance, to describe one thing, we would say poor as in he is poor. To compare two things, we should say poorer as in he is the poorer of the two women. To compare more than two things, we should say poorest and now she's the poorest of them all. So this is sort of like a comparative and superlative sentence. So for example, right here. So if you use the ER right here, poorer, for example, that is a comparative kind of word. So comparative meaning that we are comparing two person or two subjects that we're trying to compare. But if we say poorest, which is a superlative, we're talking about something that's poorest among all of them, among them all. So it is meaning that's more than two, probably three. So that's for rule number 5. Now here's what I mean right here. So for one, it's usually just how we describe it. It's not a comparative one, but for two, it is a comparative. While 3 or more usually call it superlative, meaning to describe 2 or more things. I mean to compare. So to compare 3 or more, use superlative, but if it's only 2, then comparative. So for example, we have sweet right here to describe this cake is sweet, but we can say sweeter, for example, ice cream is sweeter than cake. So we are comparing two things. And now we can say that, for example, candy is the sweetest of them all. We compare everything together, 3 or more items. So we can say sweetest, which is a superlative, meaning that it is the most of something. So that's the difference. Usually with words of 3 or more syllables, don't add a s, use more most in the front of the words. So for example, we don't say efficienter or efficientest. No, we say more efficient or the most efficient. So that's the note right there. So it's doesn't mean that we can add er at the end of comparative. For example, efficient, we should say more efficient or the most efficient in superlative. So usually it depends on the word itself, whether we should add more most or add here. But there are actually some exceptions. For example, we have bad right here. It doesn't necessarily mean better or baddest. No, they have a different form. So this is kind of like an irregular verb kind of thing. It's worse or worst right here. So worst would be the comparative, and worst with the T at the back would be the superlative form. So those are some exceptions. And now we are on to rule number 6. I hope all of you can follow. If I talk too fast, please let me know. I'm trying to slow down. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so rule number 6, we have never drop the ly from an adverb when using the comparison form. So, for example, right here, the correct one, she spoke quickly. She spoke more quickly than he did. So this is comparison. So we are using the comparative form. So this is the incorrect form. She spoke quicker than he did. So no, we shouldn't use this. He spoke quickly. I mean, technically, we already know that she spoke more quickly than he did, example like that. So she spoke quickly. We already know that that she spoke more quickly, but she spoke quicker than he did. Technically, kind of like redundant. For example, the word then right here, it's already a comparison word. And then we add quicker right here, then it's kind of like superfluous right there, meaning that it's not supposed you're not supposed to add too many things to make the word sounds well. Like I said, it's not superfluous, meaning that we add unnecessary words to our sentence. So here's the talk quietly, talk more quietly, and correct talk quieter. It's kind of weird, but you can say it talk quietly or talk more quietly. So we're using the comparison right here. So we shouldn't add the ly in that verb. We're using comparison form. So talk quieter, it doesn't make sense right here. So we should use more right here. Talk more quietly. If you're confused with this correct one, this should be correct as well. And then for one most happen, we have when this, that, these, and those are followed by nouns, they are adjectives. When they appear without a noun following them, they are pronouns. So this house is for sale. This is an adjective here. And this is for sale. This is a pronoun here. So this, that, these, and those, when they're followed by nouns, they act as an adjective. So when they appear without a noun, then they are pronouns. So, okay, so right here, this examples right here. So this house, so this is an adjective towards the house right here. It's kind of like describing the house right here. So this house is for sale. So this is an adjective here. But from here, I mean the second example right here, this is for sale. So this is a pronoun here because it is not followed by noun, so it acts as a pronoun instead. So it's like that. This is for rule number 7. Okay, so we are on to rule number 8. This and that are singular, whether they're being used in adjective or as pronouns. This points to something nearby, while that points to something over there. So all of you probably are familiar with this. So this dog is mine. That dog is hers. This is mine. That is hers. So I think it's pretty easy. This is when we are describing nearby objects, and that is points to something over there, which is kind of far away from us. So these and those are plural, whether they are being used as adjectives or pronouns. These points to something nearby, while those points to something over there. So these is basically the plural form of this, while those is the plural form of that. So technically it's like that. So here we have. Okay, so please let me know anyway if I make a mistake or something. Okay, just let me know if there's anything you like to add or ask. Okay, so these babies have been smiling for a long time. So these are mine. So these babies mean that these babies are first, they're plural. So that's why we use these, not this. And then that they are nearby us. So we use this as well. So these are mine. Those babies have been crying for hours. Those are yours. So those, we describe something that is not nearby us. It's kind of that right there. Particular distance right there. Okay. So now we have rule number 10. Use then to show comparison. Use then to answer the question when. So this is usually kind of forgot the word for that to describe this kind of thing. It's sort of like they have the same pronunciation, but they have different spellings. Like then versus then. So usually sometimes we can make a mistake on writing this kind of thing. So then with an A right there is used for comparison, but E right here is to answer your question when. So I would rather go skiing than rock climbing. So then right here, the one with an A is to show a comparison. So I would rather go skiing than rock climbing. And first we went skiing, then we went rock climbing. So then right here, but the E right here is to describe when. So it is used for time chronology. So I hope I'm not going too fast because I'm trying to finish all these materials today so then we can move on to the VL writing materials instead of grammar since this is a writing class anyway. So now we have problems with preposition. So now we have rule number one. You may end a sentence with a preposition. Just do not use extra prepositions when the meaning is clear without them. So that is something I cannot agree with. That is something which I cannot agree. So how many of you can I count on? Where did he go? Okay, so where did he go? It's already clear. So we ask where he went, but then where did he go to? It's superfluous right here. This two right here, it is not necessary. So how many of you can I count? So this is not really clear, so that is why we add on right there. So therefore the sentence is correct. So where did you get this? Where did you get this at? So at right here, it's not necessary. It's kind of redundant, so this is why we can eliminate that. And where did you get this? It sounds clear without the preposition. So now we have, I will go later. It's already cleared, and I will go with the on. We can raise the on. So it's technically, so there are lots of sentences here. Take your shoes off the bed. Take your shoes off the bed. So this is very awkward. Nobody says this kind of thing like off. It's so just off the bed. Now you don't need this right here, the off right there. You don't need that because the sentence is already clear without that preposition. So right here, you may look out the window, you may look out of the window. So this off is not necessary because we know that we are going to look out the window anyway. Without the off, it has already been made clear in the sentence that we are going to look out the window. So cut it into small pieces, cut it up into small pieces. So the preposition up right here, it is not necessary. Why? Because we already understand. The listener already understand that we can cut it into small pieces. So the up right here is definitely necessary. So now we have rule number two. Use on with expression that indicate the time of an occurrence. He was born on December 23. We will arrive on the 4th. So right here, he was born on December. So remember that every time when we are trying to indicate the time of occurrence, meaning when something was happened like at that time. So we use the expression on. He was born on December and we will arrive on the 4th. And now we have rule number three. Of should never be used in place of have. I should have done it. So this isn't correct. I should have done it. It sounds weird. So usually we use have. Usually there's actually a tenses right there. I should have done it. Or you can sometimes said that. She'll add an apostrophe right there and then add VE. So I should have done it. That's the conversation type of writing. Anyway, so rule number four. Between your first to two, among is used for three or more. So basically, yeah, like this compared to superlative. Define the candy between the two of you. Define the candy among the three of you. So when you're talking about two things, like divide candy right here, we use between. So between, we already know that it's between two people or two of something. While when we use among, it is three or more. So now we have rule number five. Into implies entrance, in does not. So Sophia walked into the house. Sophia was waiting in the house. Miriam came in to see me today. In is part of verb phrase came in, while to is a part to see. Okay, so it's like this right here. I'm going to explain it again. So Sophia walked into the house, meaning that into right here, we're describing how Sophia walked, meaning that she is going inside the house. Well, Sophia was waiting in the house. So in right here described that Sophia is inside the house already. So basically in right here waiting inside already. So it's basically inside right here for the second example. Well, Miriam came in to see me today. So in this part, the third sentence right here. So the word into right here, it is why it has the space right here because it is a complete different word right there. It's not into. It's just in and to, not into. So in is the verb phrase of came in. Miriam came in, and then so she came in, and then the other one is to see. So to is part of to see. So it is not into right here. So it is came in and to see. So this is why Miriam came in space to see me today. Okay, so we're going to explain this again. Why into here not using this one? Okay, so probably all of you know this already, but into implies an entrance. When someone walk into something, so I walk into the store, meaning that I'm going inside the store right now. So basically, into is like that. So this is why. So Miriam, the sentence right here doesn't describe if she is going to enter something. So that's why it's not into right here. It's just in and to there. So I hope I'm not making this confusing. And if you have any questions, just feel free to ask. Then, for example, so now we are going to next rule. Rule number six. The word like, when used to show comparison, is a preposition, meaning that it should be followed by an object of the preposition, but not by subject and verb. So used to connectors, also called conjunctions. So usually the connecting words are called conjunctions, as or as if when following a comparison with subject. So you look so much like your mother. So mother is the object of the preposition like. So like is a comparison saying that is similar. So technically the sentence right here, we are comparing the look of the person that we're talking to with their mother. So that's why we say you look so much like your mother. So this is a comparison kind of sentence. And then as if it is connecting two pairs of subject and verbs right here, you look as if you are angry. So we're connecting two pairs of subject. So you look and then you're angry here, subject and verbs. So I think not much about conjunctions. Because technically we actually use conjunctions in our daily conversations and writing. Now we have effective writing right here. So now we're going to the writing part. So the concrete rather than fact language. So this is a fact language, meaning that it is ambiguous, usually like that. The weather was of an extreme nature on the west coast. So concrete, well, California had very cold weather last week. So okay, so different something like this. So this right here, the first sentence right here, it's doesn't really describe anything. So the weather was an extreme nature on the west coast. So just saying that it has an extreme nature of weather. And then the concrete one, we're talking about California had very cold weather last week. So it's more concrete. The weather. How was the weather like? It is cold, and where it is was, it's in California, and the time last week. So that's concrete sentence. And then for rule number two, we have the active and passive voice. So use active voice when possible. Active voice means the subject is performing the verb. So Barry hit the ball. The ball was hit. Notice that the responsible party may not even appear when using passive voice. So usually when using passive voice, we can use that for when we are quoting what someone said. So we use passive as well instead of active. So active, usually the subject, the one that performs the verb here, very right here, is usually at the front. This is the verb. Very hit the ball. The ball is just an object. While passive, usually the object would be at the front. So this one we have the ball, and then the verb is hit. So you can actually say the ball was hit by Barry, but usually people would discard the subject, so just saying the ball was hit. So now we are on to rule number three. Avoid overusing there is, there are, as there are, this, it was, and so on. There is a case of meningitis that was reported in the newspaper because meningitis was reported in the newspaper, so we can actually sort of eliminate the word there is right here. So just saying that a case of meningitis was reported in the newspaper is already enough. But a case of meningitis was reported in the newspaper, this is a passive voice. And we can actually transform the passive voice to an active one right here. Newspaper, so the newspaper here acts as the subject, reported acts as the verb. So the newspaper reported a case of meningitis. The case of meningitis here is the object. Yeah. Okay, so here we have another example. It is important to signal before making a left turn. So correction, signaling before making a left turn is important. So is this not necessarily that we have to always eliminate the word it is or something like that, but this is just an alternative. We can eliminate here, right here, just remove the it is, and then signaling before making a left turn is important. This is way better. Signaling before a left turn is important. So we should try to make our sentence as concise as possible and as concrete as possible. So this basically the principles of writing. We should signal before making a left turn. This is also the alternative, which is also correct. So we can use this active voice here. Should signal before making a left turn. There are some revisions which must be made. Question, some revisions must be made. So some revision must be made. This is a passive voice. Well, even better, we should make it an active voice. So try to use active voice as much as possible rather than passive because it sounds more concrete. Please make some revisions. So this is very clear. Revisions refer to object, and please make right here. It refers to the listener of the answers right here. And then rule number 4, to avoid confusion, don't use two negatives to make a positive. So he is not unwilling to help. Now, this is incorrect because it sounds confusing. Two negatives. So he is not you can just say he is unwilling to help. If it's a negative form, you can just say he is unwilling to help instead of not unwilling to help. It sounds confusing because people may think that it is a negative right here from the word not, but then it just says unwilling. So the correct one, he is willing to help. So we can just remove the word not and use willing instead of unwilling to make a positive sentence instead of using negative like this one right here. And we have rule number 5. So we're going really fast. Use similar grammatical form when referring several ideas. This is called parallel constructions. So here two incorrect and correct one. So this is a parallel sentence, meaning that everything, I mean the form needs to be equal for everything right here. So we have spelling, grammar, and punctuation. So all of the three right here, they are parallel, meaning that they have similar grammatical form. But this correct right here, you should check your spelling, grammar, and punctuating. So punctuating right here, it is not um parallel because it has a different grammatical form. Because it has the ing right here, and this is not the original form. So spelling, grammar, punctuation, they are all the original form. Punctuating right here, it is not the original form. So we're on to rule number 6. If you start a sentence with an action, place the actor immediately after, or you will have created the infamous dangling modifier. So here we have the incorrect example sentence first. While walking across the street, the bus hit her. So why do we have, if you start sentence with action, please, the actor immediately. So we should not make the listener or our readers confused by having this hanging kind of sentence using dangling modifier or something like that. So while walking across the street, so they're the same, but she was hit by the bus. So we need to know that what was hit. So she was hit by a bus. So the bus hit her. It seems that the sentence is not complete, even though it is actually a complete sentence. So it sounds like the readers are hanging just based on our sentence. They think that it's not a complete sentence. So that's why we need to specify the subject right here and the object. So he was hit by a bus. So he right here. Okay, so I think for this one, this is actually a passive one right here. She was hit by a bus. It's the object, does the bus hit her? So correct me if I'm wrong. And she was hit by a bus while walking across the street. So both of them are correct. But personally, the second one right here is actually the most correct form. I mean, it's not really have the most correct, I mean the most common one. While walking across the street, this is usually kind of like a story kind of type of sentence right here. Well, this is a more straightforward. She was hit by a bus walking across the street. This is a very straightforward sentence. Now we are on to the two last rules before I'm going to give an example of some writing materials. So rule number 7, we have place modifiers near the words they modify. So the incorrect one, I have some pound cake molly baked in my lunch bag. So the correct one should be in my lunch bag, I have some pound cake named molly baked. Okay. So technically we have to sort of break the sentence apart right here. I have some pound cake molly baked in my lunch bag. So it's kind of like one sentence that's not really clear, but in my lunch bag, I have some pound cake that molly baked. So this is more specific. So that's why for rule number 7, we should place the modifiers never they modify. So let's just say I have some pumpkin moldy bake. This is the main sentence right here. And my lunch bag is technically just the additional one. So that's why we add this at the front. If some pumpkin moldy bake. So this is this one. So that's why we have to put this separately. And that's why we divide this by a comma right here. So this is my way of explaining things. And then for rule number 8, we have a sentence fragment, of course, when you have only a phrase or weak clause, but are missing a strong clause. So example of sentence fragment. After the show ended. So after the show ended, this is not a full sentence because, well, if you just say the show ended, then yes, it is a full sentence. But since we add the word after, now this is a fragment sentence. This is a really weak clause and it cannot stand on its own. So how to make this sentence stand on its own? We have to add something. After the show ended, we had coffee. And the word we had coffee right here is a strong clause, meaning that it can stand on its own, or we can say it's as an independent clause. But something, I mean, a strong clause, when they are added the word after, then it will become a weak clause and it cannot stand on its own. Therefore, we need to add comma, strong clause. So I think I've said this before. If we place the sentence fragment, the not sentence fragment, the weak clause first, we should add a comma and add the strong clause. But if it's different, I mean, if it's the opposite, then we should just do it that way. So for example, like this right here, we have a comma right here because the first part of the sentence is the we clause. But if I'm going to just switch it apart for we had coffee first, we had coffee after the show ended, then a comma should not be needed. So that's what I meant. So that's a basic comma rule right there. So okay. So I'm going to where should I do this? I'm going to stop sharing first. Okay. And go to my writing serial first. So give me a second to fetch my writing material first. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. So we still have about a few minutes before class ended. Okay, so this is a writing example right here I have. Wait, hold on, let me just, okay, right here. So probably for the next meeting, I'm going to discuss about this writing material about mostly about the grammar rules of this whole writing before giving you an assignment. Since, well, again, this is a writing class, so I should focus more on writing instead of grammar. So, grammar is also the basically the foundation of writing here. So we can discuss the grammar while talking about the writing itself. So I'm just going to go through the first sentences before I end the class. Okay. Okay, hold on here. Okay. So for example, right here, as I sat on my room's carpeted floor, feet comfortably tucked under my pink foldable desk, I gazed into the mirror in front of me. So right here, technically, I use a parallel sentence, the one that we've discussed earlier. So I'm using a past tense right here in this essay. So as I sat on my room's carpeted floor, so sat right here is a past tense. So we have sat, and then feet comfortably tucked, we have tuck right here, which is also a past tense. And then I gazed. So gaze is also a past tense right here. So all of this right here is parallel sentence. So because well the verb they all use past tense, past form of the verb there. So it's a parallel one. So I'm going to go um more through it next week. But for now, I'm just going to discuss the first paragraph. And with the hand brush in hand, I instinctively stroked the waves of my naturally cold hair. So with the brush in hand, technically this is a weak clause. It cannot stand on its weak. It cannot stand on its own. So it technically needs a strong clause, which is I right here until curly hair right here. This is the strong clause right here. And again, like I said before, when we're trying to connect the weak clause with a strong clause, we need to add a comma if the weak clause goes first. And then each goal that I touch intrigues me for it shows the anomaly of my hair. So I'm going to go through it more thoroughly next week. Again, I'm going to discuss the first paragraph once again. Each goal that I touch intrigues me, for it shows the anomaly of my hair. So right here, this is a one complete sentence right here. So right here, I touch right here. We should not add an S because I right here is an S. But intrigues right here, we add ES, which is the other form of intrigue, means that it is interesting. So this intrigues right here describe the each curl, which is a singular. That's for the third sentence. So while curly hair might be ubiquitous, mine is unique. So mine is unique is a strong clause. It can stand on its own. Mine is unique. Show you that. So while curly hair might be ubiquitous means something that we can commonly find. Technically, it is everywhere. It's very common. So that's what ubiquitous means. And while curly hair, since we have the word while after something like that is usually make the sentence weak. So it is a weak clause or a dependent. It is a weak clause, or you can say it's a dependent clause, meaning that it is dependent on the stronger clause. So while curly might be ubiquitous, it's a weak clause, then it's followed by a comma, and then this is the strong clause. So this is for the first paragraph. So yeah, we're going to discuss about this and this essay for next week. Yeah. So it is 6:15. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So I think 10 minutes from now, some of you probably have Mandarin classes. So I guess I'm just going to end the class. I'm going to stop recording for now.